There's something that determines everything about your life. It's not your circumstances. It's not where you were born. It's not your education level or how much money your parents had. It's not the economy. It's not the government. It's not even the people around you. What determines everything about your life is your personal philosophy. Your philosophy is the set of beliefs and principles that guide your life. It's how you see the world. It's what you believe about success and failure, wealth and poverty, relationships and solitude, health and sickness. Your philosophy is the foundation upon which everything else is built. And here's what's fascinating. Most people have never taken the time to consciously develop their philosophy. They've simply absorbed beliefs from their environment like a sponge absorbs water. Think about that for a moment. The most important factor in your life, the thing that determines your direction, your decisions, your destiny, is something most people have never deliberately worked on. They inherited their philosophy from their parents, their teachers, their peers, their culture. They never stopped to question whether these beliefs serve them or limit them. They never asked, is this true? Does this work? Will this take me where I want to go? Let me share something with you that changed my life. The day I realized that my philosophy was creating my results. Not the economy, not my boss, not luck or chance or circumstances. My philosophy, the way I thought about things, the beliefs I held, the principles I lived by. That realization was simultaneously humbling and empowering. Humbling because I had to take responsibility. I couldn't blame anyone else anymore, but empowering because if my philosophy created my current results, then changing my philosophy could create different results. Here's how it works. Your philosophy determines your attitude. Your attitude determines your activity. Your activity determines your results. It's a chain reaction, and it all starts with philosophy. If you have a poor philosophy, you'll have a poor attitude. If you have a poor attitude, you'll engage in poor activity, and poor activity produces poor results. It's inevitable. It's not a mystery why some people succeed and others don't. Show me their philosophy, and I'll show you their future. Let's start with what philosophy really means in practical terms. Your philosophy is your answer to the fundamental questions of life. What's possible for me? What do I deserve? How hard should I work? What's a fair exchange for my time and effort? Should I read books or watch television? Should I invest in myself or spend everything I earn? Should I take responsibility or blame circumstances? Should I persist through difficulties or quit when things get hard? Every single day, you're living out the answers to these questions, whether you're aware of it or not. Your current life is a perfect reflection of your current philosophy. If you don't like your results, the first place to look isn't out there in the world. The first place to look is in here, at your beliefs and principles. That's where change begins. That's where transformation starts. Now, here's something most people don't understand. You can change your philosophy. It's not fixed. It's not permanent. It's not set in stone. You can examine your beliefs, question your assumptions, and choose new principles to guide your life. This is the most liberating truth you'll ever discover. You're not stuck with the philosophy you inherited. You can develop a new one. You can become a student of success, of achievement, of excellence, and you can adopt principles that will serve you better. But this requires work. It requires honesty. It requires courage. You have to be willing to look at your beliefs and say, is this really true? Or is this just something I picked up somewhere along the way? You have to be willing to challenge ideas that everyone around you accepts without question. You have to be willing to think differently, to see things from new perspectives, to consider possibilities you've never considered before. Let me give you an example. What's your philosophy about work? Some people believe that work is something to be avoided, that the goal is to do as little as possible and still get paid. Others believe that work is an opportunity to grow, to contribute, to become more valuable. Which philosophy do you think produces better results? Which philosophy do you think leads to advancement, to increased income, to respect and recognition? The answer is obvious. But here's the thing, both philosophies exist. People choose between them every single day, often without even realizing they're making a choice. Your philosophy about work will determine how you approach your job. If you see work as something to avoid, you'll do the minimum. You'll watch the clock. You'll complain about your boss and your workload. You'll look for shortcuts. And over time, you'll become less valuable, less respected, less compensated. It's inevitable. But if you see work as an opportunity, everything changes. You'll look for ways to contribute more. You'll develop new skills. You'll take initiative. You'll become indispensable, and the marketplace will reward you for it. The same principle applies to every area of life. What's your philosophy about money? Some people believe that money is scarce, hard to get, and that rich people must have done something wrong or gotten lucky. Others believe that money flows to value, that you can create wealth by serving others. That abundance is natural when you follow certain principles. These two philosophies create completely different financial realities. One leads to struggle and resentment. The other leads to prosperity and generosity. What's your philosophy about personal development? Do you believe that you're pretty much the same person you've always been, that people don't really change? Or do you believe that growth is possible, that you can learn new skills, develop new capacities, become a better version of yourself? These beliefs will determine whether you invest time and money in your own development or whether you spend your resources on temporary pleasures and distractions. Here's a principle that will transform your life if you embrace it. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Most people have this backwards. They work hard on their job but neglect their own development. They hope their circumstances will improve without them having to improve. But that's not how it works. Your income will rarely exceed your personal development. Your relationships will rarely be better than your capacity for understanding and empathy. Your health will rarely be better than your knowledge and discipline regarding nutrition and exercise. Everything starts with you. Everything starts with your philosophy. If you want better results, become a better person. If you want more, become more. If you want life to get easier, become stronger. This is the fundamental truth that most people miss. They're trying to change their results without changing themselves. They're trying to change their circumstances without changing their philosophy. It doesn't work that way. You've got to start at the foundation. Now, how do you develop a powerful personal philosophy? It begins with becoming a student. Not just a student in school, but a student of life. You've got to study success. You've got to study achievement. You've got to study the principles that govern human behavior and results. This means reading books. This means listening to people who have accomplished what you want to accomplish. This means observing, thinking, questioning, learning. Formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. That's a principle worth remembering. School teaches you how to survive. Self-education teaches you how to thrive. School gives you the basics. Self-education gives you the edge. School is important, but it's just the beginning. The real education happens when you take responsibility for your own learning, when you become curious about ideas and principles, when you dedicate yourself to constant improvement. Reading is fundamental to developing your philosophy. Books contain the accumulated wisdom of thousands of years. For just a few dollars, you can learn what took someone decades to figure out. You can avoid mistakes. You can adopt strategies that work. You can expand your thinking beyond the limitations of your personal experience. Yet most people don't read. They say they're too busy, too tired, not interested. But what they're really saying is that they don't value their own development enough to invest time in it. If you read just 30 minutes a day, you'll read a book every week or two. That's 25 to 50 books a year. In 10 years, that's 250 to 500 books. Can you imagine how different your life would be if you had the wisdom contained in 500 books? Can you imagine how your philosophy would evolve, how your thinking would deepen, how your understanding would expand? It's one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself, and it costs almost nothing except the commitment to do it. But reading isn't enough. You've got to think about what you read. You've got to question it, test it, apply it. You've got to wrestle with ideas until they become part of you. This is how philosophy develops. Not by passive absorption, but by active engagement. Not by accepting everything you hear, but by thinking critically about what serves you and what doesn't. Let me share another principle that's crucial to developing your philosophy. Don't wish things were easier, wish you were better. This is a complete reversal of how most people think. Most people want their problems to go away. They want life to be less challenging. They want success to be easier. But that's not where power lies. Power lies in becoming the kind of person who can handle bigger challenges, solve bigger problems, create bigger results. When you wish you were better instead of wishing things were easier, your whole focus changes. Instead of resenting your circumstances, you start looking for ways to grow. Instead of complaining about obstacles, you start developing skills. Instead of feeling victimized by life, you start feeling empowered. This shift in philosophy changes everything. Success is not about avoiding difficulties. Success is about developing the capacity to handle difficulties. It's about becoming strong enough, skilled enough, disciplined enough to overcome whatever challenges arise. And here's the beautiful thing: as you grow, your problems don't necessarily get easier, but they become less significant relative to your abilities. A problem that would have overwhelmed you 5 years ago becomes a minor inconvenience today, not because the problem changed, but because you changed. This brings us to another crucial aspect of philosophy discipline. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day, not some grand, mysterious secret, not some complex strategy, just simple disciplines practiced consistently. And failure is nothing more than a few errors in judgment repeated every day. The difference between success and failure is not dramatic. It's not enormous choices. It's small choices repeated over time. Think about health. You don't suddenly become unhealthy. You become unhealthy through small, poor choices repeated daily. Eating a little too much, moving a little too little, neglecting sleep, managing stress poorly. One day of these choices doesn't matter. But 1,000 days, 10,000 days, those small choices compound into serious health problems. On the other hand, healthy choices also compound. Eating well, exercising regularly, getting adequate rest, managing stress. These simple disciplines, practiced daily, create vibrant health over time. The same is true for finances. You don't become wealthy or poor overnight. It happens gradually through daily choices, spending a little more than you earn, buying things you don't need, and neglecting to save and invest. These small errors in judgment, repeated daily, create financial struggle. But spending less than you earn, saving consistently, investing wisely, these simple disciplines create financial security and eventually wealth. Your philosophy about discipline will determine your destiny. If you believe that discipline is restrictive, that it takes away freedom, you'll resist it. You'll live for immediate gratification. You'll choose what feels good now over what's good for you long term. But if you understand that discipline is actually what creates freedom, everything changes. Discipline in your finances creates financial freedom. Discipline in your health creates the freedom to enjoy life fully. Discipline in your work creates the freedom to choose your projects and your income level. Let's talk about your philosophy regarding time, because time is your most valuable resource. Everyone gets the same 24 hours. The CEO and the laborer both get the same allotment. The difference in results comes down to philosophy and the choices that flow from it. What do you believe about time? Do you believe it's something to kill, something to waste, something that passes whether you use it or not? Or do you believe time is precious, that how you spend it determines who you become and what you achieve? Your philosophy about time will determine whether you spend your evenings watching television or reading books, whether you spend your weekends pursuing entertainment or building skills, whether you spend your lunch break scrolling social media or listening to educational content. These choices seem small in the moment, but they compound dramatically over months and years. Show me how someone spends their discretionary time, and I'll show you their future. Here's something else to consider. You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. This is profoundly important. Your current situation is the result of thousands of choices and actions over many years. You can't instantly transform your circumstances, but you can instantly transform your direction. You can decide right now to adopt a new philosophy, to embrace new principles, to make different choices. And when you change your direction, you change your destination. Most people get discouraged because they want instant results. They want to read one book and be transformed. They want to make one good choice and see dramatic change. But that's not how it works. Change comes from consistent application of better principles over time. You plant in the spring and harvest in the fall. There's a season for planting and a season for reaping. You can't violate this natural law. But here's the good news: if you plant good seeds, if you consistently apply sound principles, the harvest will come. It's inevitable. Let's examine your philosophy about responsibility. This might be the most important belief you hold. Do you believe that your life is primarily shaped by external forces, the economy, the government, your boss, your spouse, your past? Or do you believe that you are the primary creative force in your life? Do you see yourself as a victim of circumstances or as the architect of your destiny? This one belief will determine almost everything else. If you believe you're a victim, you'll spend your energy complaining, blaming, wishing things were different. You'll feel powerless. You'll wait for someone else to solve your problems or improve your circumstances. You'll be stuck. But if you take full responsibility, not just for your actions, but for your responses to everything that happens, you become powerful. You stop wasting energy on blame and start investing energy in solutions. You stop waiting for circumstances to improve and start improving yourself. Taking responsibility is not always comfortable. It means you can't blame anyone else for your results. It means you have to admit that where you are is largely because of choices you've made, philosophies you've adopted, disciplines you've neglected. That can be hard to accept. But it's also incredibly freeing, because if you created your current results, you can create different results. If your choices brought you here, different choices will take you somewhere else. Your philosophy about learning from failure is equally important. Do you see failure as something to avoid at all costs, something shameful, something that proves you're not good enough? Or do you see failure as feedback, as information, as a necessary part of growth? People with a healthy philosophy about failure are willing to try things, to experiment, to risk looking foolish. They learn faster, adapt quicker, and eventually succeed at higher levels. People who fear failure play it safe, avoid risks, and stay stuck where they are. Every successful person has failed multiple times, not despite their success, but as part of the process that led to success. They tried things that didn't work. They made mistakes. They had setbacks. But they didn't interpret these experiences as evidence of inadequacy. They interpreted them as valuable learning opportunities. They asked, "What can I learn from this? How can I do better next time?" That philosophy turned failures into stepping stones. Now let's consider your philosophy about association. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This isn't just a catchy saying. It's a profound truth. The people around you influence your thinking, your attitudes, your beliefs, your standards, your expectations. If you spend time with people who complain constantly, you'll find yourself complaining more. If you spend time with people who have ambitious goals, you'll raise your own standards. If you spend time with people who are learning and growing, you'll be inspired to do the same. This means you need to be intentional about your associations. You need to limit time with people who drain your energy, who reinforce limiting beliefs, who encourage mediocrity. And you need to seek out people who challenge you to grow, who model success, who maintain high standards. This isn't about being elitist or unkind. It's about recognizing that your environment shapes you, and you have a responsibility to create an environment that supports your highest aspirations. Your philosophy about money deserves special attention because it affects so much of your life. What do you really believe about wealth? Do you believe it's wrong to want money, that rich people are greedy or lucky, that poverty is somehow noble? Or do you believe that money is a tool, that wealth is created by serving others, that prosperity is natural when you provide value? These beliefs will determine whether you ever accumulate significant wealth. Many people have a confused philosophy about money. They want more of it, but feel guilty about wanting it. They admire wealthy people, but resent them at the same time. They work for money, but believe there's something wrong with wanting to earn more. This confused philosophy creates confused results. You can't achieve something you believe is wrong or that you resent in others. A healthy philosophy about money recognizes several truths. Money is a measure of the value you provide in the marketplace. More value, more money. Less value, less money. Money gives you choices, the choice to live where you want, to pursue opportunities, to support causes you believe in, to take care of your family. Money is not the most important thing, but it impacts almost everything that is important. Health, education, security, relationships, contribution. Therefore, learning to earn it, manage it, and invest it wisely is a crucial life skill. Here's a principle that will serve you well. Profits are better than wages. Wages make you a living. Profits make you a fortune. When you work for wages, your income is limited by hours and hourly rate. When you work for profits, whether through business ownership, investments, or entrepreneurial activities, your income is limited only by value creation and leverage. This doesn't mean everyone should quit their job. It means everyone should develop a philosophy that includes creating multiple streams of income, building assets, and thinking like an owner rather than just an employee. Your philosophy about health will determine your energy, longevity, and quality of life. Do you believe that health is mostly genetic, that there's not much you can do about it? Or do you believe that health is primarily the result of daily choices, what you eat, how you move, how you sleep, how you manage stress? The second philosophy empowers you. It puts you in control. It motivates you to make better choices because you understand that those choices matter. Most health problems are self-inflicted, not through conscious choice, but through small, poor decisions repeated over time. The good news is that most health problems can also be prevented or reversed through better decisions repeated over time. Your body is remarkably resilient. Give it the nutrition it needs, the movement it craves, the rest it requires, and it will serve you well for decades. Neglect these basics, and you'll pay a steep price in pain, disease, and diminished capacity. Let's talk about your philosophy regarding contribution and service. What do you believe your purpose is? Are you here just to take what you can get to survive, to pursue pleasure? Or are you here to contribute, to add value, to make things better than you found them? This belief will determine your level of fulfillment and significance. The most successful, happiest people are those who have found ways to serve others while pursuing their own growth and prosperity. They understand that life is not just about accumulation, but about contribution. They ask not just, what can I get, but what can I give? This philosophy creates meaning. It creates connection. It creates a legacy that extends beyond your lifetime. Service to others is not something you do after you become successful. Service is the path to success. When you focus on how you can help others solve problems, meet needs, and achieve goals, opportunities appear. People want to work with you, do business with you, support you. Value flows toward those who create value. This is a fundamental law of prosperity. Your philosophy about relationships will determine the quality of your closest connections. Do you believe relationships should be easy? That if you have to work at it, something's wrong? Or do you believe that meaningful relationships require attention, communication, forgiveness, and consistent effort? Do you believe people should accept you as you are? Or do you believe you should continuously work on becoming someone worth being in relationship with? Strong relationships are built on a foundation of good character, clear communication, and mutual investment. They don't just happen. They're created through intentional choices repeated over time. Your philosophy about what you owe to relationships, loyalty, honesty, effort, growth, will determine whether your relationships thrive or struggle. Now, here's something crucial to understand. Your philosophy needs regular refinement. It's not something you develop once and then forget about. It's something you should examine, question, and improve continuously. As you learn more, experience more, and grow more, your philosophy should evolve. Ideas that served you at 20 might limit you at 40. Beliefs that worked in one context might not work in another. Stay flexible. Stay curious. Stay willing to change your mind when presented with better information or principles. The best way to refine your philosophy is through what I call keeping a journal. Not a diary of daily events, but a record of insights, lessons learned, observations, and conclusions. When you read something valuable, write about it. When you experience something instructive, capture the lesson. When you notice patterns in results, your own or others, record your thoughts. Over time, this practice will clarify your thinking and strengthen your philosophy. Let me share something that might surprise you. You don't have to figure everything out on your own. You can learn from other people's experiences. You can study those who have achieved what you want to achieve and adopt their philosophies and strategies. This doesn't mean copying them blindly. It means learning principles that work and adapting them to your circumstances. It means standing on the shoulders of giants rather than starting from scratch. Find mentors. Read biographies. Study success. Pay attention to what works and what doesn't. Look for patterns. What do successful people believe about work, money, relationships, health, learning? What principles do they live by? What disciplines do they practice? You'll find that while the details vary, certain core principles appear again and again. These are the principles worth adopting and integrating into your own philosophy. Here's a principle worth embracing: don't join an easy crowd. You won't grow there. Instead, seek out people and environments that challenge you, that raise your standards, that expect more from you. Growth happens at the edge of your comfort zone, not in the middle of it. A philosophy that values comfort above growth will keep you stuck. A philosophy that embraces discomfort as the price of development will take you far. Your philosophy about goals and dreams is another crucial area. Do you believe it's important to have clearly defined goals, written down, reviewed regularly? Or do you believe that you should just go with the flow, see what happens, not get too attached to outcomes? The evidence is overwhelming. People with clear, written goals achieve significantly more than people without them. Goals give you direction. They focus your energy. They help you make decisions. They provide motivation when things get difficult. But goals without philosophy are just wishes. Your philosophy is what gives you the strength to pursue your goals when obstacles appear. Your philosophy is what keeps you committed when the initial enthusiasm fades. Your philosophy is what helps you persist when others quit. Goals are important, but the beliefs and principles that support those goals are what make achievement possible. As we bring this together, I want you to understand something fundamental. Your life will not improve by chance. It will improve by change. And change begins with a conscious decision to examine and improve your personal philosophy. This is work that no one else can do for you. No one can hand you a perfect philosophy. No one can think for you, question for you, choose for you. This is your responsibility and your opportunity. Start today. Right now. Ask yourself, what do I really believe about success, about work, about money, about relationships, about my own potential? Are these beliefs serving me? Are they true? Are they taking me where I want to go? Be honest. Be thorough. Be willing to challenge long-held assumptions. This process might be uncomfortable, but it's also incredibly powerful. Then begin to deliberately construct a philosophy that supports your highest aspirations. Adopt principles that have been proven to work. Read books written by people who have achieved what you want to achieve. Listen to those who have walked the path before you. Test these ideas in your own life. Keep what works. Refine what needs adjustment. Discard what doesn't serve you. This is how a powerful personal philosophy is built, not overnight, but over time through consistent attention and refinement. Remember this: success is not a destination. It's a direction. It's living each day according to principles that move you toward your goals rather than away from them. It's making choices that align with your values rather than contradicting them. It's being intentional about who you're becoming rather than drifting wherever circumstances take you. This is what a powerful philosophy makes possible. You have within you right now everything you to begin this transformation. You don't need more resources. You don't need better circumstances. You don't need luck or connections or advantages you don't have. You need to develop your philosophy, and everything else will follow. Your philosophy will shape your attitudes. Your attitudes will drive your activities. Your activities will produce your results. This is the sequence of success, and it begins with the work you're willing to do on your own thinking. The power of personal philosophy is that it puts you in control. Not control of circumstances. Those will always be partly beyond your influence. But control of your responses, your choices, your direction, your growth. This is true power. This is what creates extraordinary lives. Not perfect circumstances, but powerful philosophies that guide you through imperfect circumstances toward meaningful achievements. Your life matters. Your potential is enormous. Your possibilities are vast. But none of it will materialize without the foundation of a sound personal philosophy. This is where it all begins. This is where transformation starts. This is your opportunity and your responsibility. Take it seriously. Work on it consistently. Let it guide you daily. And watch as your life begins to reflect the principles you've chosen to live by. That's the power of personal philosophy, and it's available to anyone willing to do the work.